So we're going to paint this Calico cat. I created the drawing from this photo reference. So we're looking for these orangey, yellow kind of colors here with obviously just the simple black, a little bit of light pink, and some gray for the body of the cat. I'm going to take a little bit of gray, black, and start laying down the first layers here into this area where this precious cat has his black fur, or hers. Okay. And work on this kind of yellowy orange in the woodland set. It's going to be this cavern. If you have your own paints, you just want to mix probably a little bit of orange and brown together, or put some brown, yellow into your red, depending on what kind of shade of paints that you have. I'll leave a little bit of white here for the ears. And getting that shape right there. And then I'm going to get the background for my eyes. I'm putting a little bit of this bright yellow in here, and then I'll add something to it to make it look a little bit more amber. And I want to go over some of that, so I can't do it while it's wet, of course. We'll add a little black later over my pencil lines. You can always practice doing lines on your scrap piece of paper. The lighter you're doing it, the smaller the lines, and the more you push down, the thicker the lines will become. And I'm going to go ahead and take my Roxbury, add a lot of water to it, so any kind of red or pink, add some water to get that soft pink color. And then I'll come in here and kind of grab a little bit of this shadow area around the collar here. And now, let's see, I'll come in here. Just getting the groundwork. This should be pretty dry now, or dry enough. This is kind of wet down here, so I'll pull some of that water back so that I can begin to work. And actually this is drier, so I'll get started. I'm going to dabble like this, making almost like a teardrop shape. There's not a lot of water in that. And then when my pigment dries, it will leave a nice little texture like you're seeing here. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm doing this little dabble technique to give that texture because of the fur. And I don't want to make it look too flat, so I want to be able to have nice little lines. My brush has a lot of water in it, so it's not laying down as accurate as I would like it to be. And also still a little damp in there. Okay, and then now I'm going to come in here and get that black. I'm going to go outside the line a little bit with the very point of my brush so that it sort of looks like the hair. And I'll come in here and do the same thing. Now see, I can add these little tiny lines there so that it gives that impression of that texture. And it will look different when you lay this down depending on whether your bottom layer is actually dry yet. So I may come back in there and add a few more places so that I can keep that texture. And now I'm going to add to the eye here a little bit of the same cavern color on top of that yellow color, just to give a little bit of amber tone to it. Alright, now we've got the basics for that. We'll go back in and put details later. I'm going to start working on the body of my cat. So I'm going to come along here, take like a, I don't want it to be too stark black, but get a nice little hairline across this area here to give that dimension, set that contrast from the background. And now I'm going to very gently pull some of that pigment while it's still wet away from that line, reducing the amount of pigment in the line, but also kind of spreading that around a little bit. Now, that looks too dark to me to get this nice, pretty white fur, so I'm going to go and pull back some of that with the white of my paper towel. I'm going to go over this area here with a light wash that I'll do the same thing as I did up there and add some of this dimension in later. So this is a big area of this cat. And I'm going to come in here and do this. Well, I've already got the paint here, and kind of do this in this area as well. And I don't want those areas to touch. See how they're kind of blending together. I'll be going back over with more paint, so I'm okay to leave it for now, but that's not really. In watercolor, you want to kind of take your time and let each area dry. But for the sake of the video, I'm going to just keep working. Okay, now my painting is dry or drier, so we're going to come in here and start adding a little bit of that black around the eye to define that where the pencil lines were. Very carefully. If you don't feel comfortable, you can just go in with a pen afterwards, and you'll have more accuracy that way. I always draw my lines kind of coming toward me, and I'll just add a little bit of shadow here. We had a couple places up here we wanted to get to, and the middle of the eyes. Okay, I'm going to start with the black or shadow, gray, whatever you've got in your box. I'm going to come back and fix some of these areas here in a bit after that dries a little bit. So now I'm just doing the exact same thing that I just did. And like I said, you can make your striped and fur areas however you want, because every cat is going to be different. I just used that reference. But of course with a Calico cat, it's going to be every other area has this. And now I'm going to try to, if those areas are dry enough, kind of integrate those two. Like there's little fine hairs that are going one into the other. And I don't have any cats. I've got a lot of people that are allergic to cats in my family, but this is a very pretty cat. So if you've got a Calico or you just love cats and that's why you decided to do this, now you enjoy the beauty of the design of this fur. Now, I'll just do this part up here, and I make sure not to put my hand in it and stamp. If it gets on your hand, then it can stamp onto another part of your paper. If that happens, clear your brush really, really good as soon as possible. Put the clear, kind of scrub at it with your brush, the clear water, and take plain paper towel and push down and pull up. Don't scrub at your paper, don't swipe, just stamp that and then do it again until it's gone. And if you have other issues and it's not working, then take a pencil and add something to your drawing to hide it and disguise that little oopsie area. It will be fine. And really overall, when you think about it, the painting, if you're putting it in a frame, you're not going to see it so up close. If you ever look at my references online and you zoom in, you'll see I make all kinds of little mistakes, but when they're in a frame, you don't even see that. So that way you don't have to stress too much about little mistakes. It's a piece of paper. You can start over again as well, so you don't have to worry too much. Just hard when you've worked so hard on a whole painting and smear it at the end, or when you're done, put your hand in it, or didn't know it wasn't dry yet. So just be careful, let it dry. And if you've got water nearby that you're drinking, just be careful you don't get any of the condensation into it. Okay, now you can leave these as pencil marks. You can come in here with a micron pen. I sell these, or even it doesn't have to be waterproof if it's at the end, and come in and kind of draw over these whiskers. So it's a very fine line. Or you could use the very tip of your brush. It's going to look a little bit different. But you have to really practice that on your practice sheet. That is the number one thing I think people mess up on, is just not being able to get that fine line, and they're so disappointed if it goes over it. Then, like I said, clear it up. You can see this one isn't so accurate, so what I would do is clear my brush, kind of put water on it, take a clean paper towel and stamp that back so that it's gone. Or if you can't get rid of it altogether, add a darker line on top and it'll just look like a shadow instead. So because I put a little bit of gray in here, I'm just going to very, very lightly, and not get too close to any of my other paint, and just kind of add that tone into the white areas. Oops, I got some of that paint in there. Said not to do. And pull that into there. Also, now you can take your clear brush and see where all this white is behind here. Take a clear brush with not a lot of water, now that that's dry, and you can kind of fill in just a little bit, clear off the pigment here and there, and just get rid of the bright white and smooth in. You want to still keep that texture, but you just want to kind of, and not everywhere, but in a few places. If you do it everywhere, you could really lose your beautiful texture you just took time to make. So be very careful about that. And then now I'm going to come in here and re-add that texture because it was too wet earlier. I can also go back, this line sort of disappeared, and I can take that and some of these little lines back in here that I want to see in my final picture. Even really the outside, you can always add that depth. So you can finish up this piece at the bottom however you would like, and I also have this other version where I have a background here, and so you can put any background you'd like or just leave it white. But when you do that, just be careful not to get too close to the black areas in here so that it doesn't blend into your background. So enjoy making this calico cat.